Hi, everybody, and welcome to the call. My name is Savannah Stone, and I'm one of Redcap's sales coaches. Hugh Little, the sales wizard who will be talking with you tonight, is the chiropractic sales wizard at Redcap Sales Coaching, where you can make selling easy, fun, and profitable. Let me tell you a little bit about Hugh. On this webinar, you're going to be hearing from a sales expert who has been selling for almost 50 years. So you won't be getting information out of a textbook or a college class. You'll be receiving the benefit of all of his years of sales, sales management, and sales coaching experience. 11 years ago, Hugh started his sales coaching company, Redcap Sales Coaching. Most of his clients are chiropractors like you, and his clients are building some of the largest practices in the chiropractic world. He's also my coach, so I can tell you from firsthand experience that you're going to get some great value from his webinar. You're going to get some awesome information about how you can have sales conversations that consistently convert your prospects to care. And ultimately, that means more sales and more revenue for your practice. You're not going to be asked to invest any money during this webinar. In fact, at the end of the webinar, you're going to receive a gift valued at $300. So relax, open up your mind, and listen closely to what the sales wizard teaches you and start implementing it in your practice tomorrow. And now, everyone, here's Hugh.
Well, thank you, Savannah, for that wonderful introduction. You said that just exactly the way I wrote it. So I appreciate that very much.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the call tonight. You know, on most podcasts, the presenter spends 10 or 15 minutes talking about him or herself. I'm not going to do that because the goal of this call is to deliver as much value for you as possible. If you want to know more about me and Redcap Sales Coaching, you can go to redcapsalescoaching.com and check out the About page. You probably have noticed the well-dressed dinosaur on the slides. You'll see him on every slide tonight because the title of this webinar is Evolve or Die. And I want you to remember that every time you see the dinosaur. You see, dinosaurs were among the most powerful animals ever to roam the earth, and yet they died out, became extinct. Why? Because they didn't change, didn't adapt to the world around them. As chiropractors, you're some of the most powerful beings in the world. You have the amazing gift of health in your hands, and you can give that gift to anyone who cares enough to take advantage of it. And yet, in order to continue to offer your services, you must build your practice and create revenue to a point that allows you to keep your practice open, provide the up-to-date care that your practice members deserve, and enjoy the lifestyle you and your family deserve. There's only one way to create abundant revenue in your practice, and that's marketing and selling. The world of selling has changed immensely since I started selling back in the 1970s. In fact, selling has changed tremendously just in the past few years. Buyers have become more sophisticated in recent years, and with the advent of the internet, your prospective practice members will research you long before they sit down to talk with you. So, if you're still selling the way you were just a few years ago, if your practice is new and you've never sold before, if at least 6 or 7 out of every 10 people with whom you talk are not starting care, you need to change what you're doing in your marketing and sales efforts, or you run the risk of your practice dying out like the dinosaurs did. In this webinar, you'll be learning just a few of the basics in which you can make immediate changes to improve your sales and boost your revenue, and you'll find out how you can take the next step if you want to. Now, the biggest challenge you'll encounter is that the suggestions you'll receive tonight involve change. And nobody really likes change except wet babies. So if you aren't open to new ideas, to changing the way you market and sell, to changing what you say to prospective practice members, to ridding yourself of old habits and forming new, more successful ones, what you'll hear tonight will have little value to you. If you are open to change, the things you learn tonight will make a huge difference in your sales and revenue in a very short space of time. The first area in which change must take place for you to become extraordinary at selling is your sales mindset. A challenge I see continuously with chiropractic and other helping professions is the attitude that I just want to help people. I don't want to sell anything. Now, helping people is noble, and I don't think that part of your mindset should change at all. However, you can be the greatest, most educated, most principled, most helpful, most skilled chiropractor in the world. And if you don't have enough practice members to sustain your practice and make it thrive, it's all for nothing. If you want an extraordinary practice and extraordinary revenue, you and your team must become extraordinary at selling. There are three things in which you must believe if you're going to excel at selling. First, you must believe in yourself. If I had a nickel for every time I heard someone say, I can't sell, I'm just not a salesperson, I'd be a millionaire. The truth is that you can sell if you believe you can, because selling is simply having a fun, friendly conversation with another person. You must believe that you're the kind of person with whom anyone would enjoy having a conversation. Let me give you an example. My wife, Priscilla, would be the first to tell you that she isn't a salesperson, doesn't want to be a salesperson, wouldn't be good at sales. In fact, she says she hates salespeople. Now, that's kind of weird since I coach salespeople. And yet, Priscilla helped me make a decision to move from Colorado to Florida, which I never thought I would do. She told me about all of the great things that would happen when we moved to Florida. I wouldn't have to shovel snow or drive in it anymore. The only two things I disliked about Colorado. And then she asked me for the sale. She said, I'm moving to Florida. You want to go or not? Well, I came to Florida and I really do like it here. And the person who can't sell and doesn't want to sell had a tremendous sales conversation with me. I think she may have learned a thing or two from overhearing some of the coaching sessions I've had with clients. Now, secondly, you must believe in what you do. Now, you're on this call because you're a chiropractor, and I know you believe in chiropractic. Some of you may be network chiropractors, and some of you practice other chiropractic processes. It's important that you believe totally in what you're offering to your prospective practice members, and you need to be receiving that kind of care on a regular basis yourself. Now, the third thing in which you must believe is your practice. You must believe with all your heart that there's nothing your prospective practice members could do that would be more beneficial than receiving care from you. I'm not a chiropractor, but I do believe that chiropractic is the Rolex of healthcare because it's really the only care that focuses on helping the patient achieve optimal health and maintain it, rather than simply treating symptoms. That's what sets you apart, in my opinion, makes you special, makes you the best choice a person can make in getting well and staying that way. How much do you believe that about your practice? We'll talk a little more about why believing those things is important in just a minute. Now, there are three philosophies that you must hold if you want to be extraordinary at selling. First of all, it's not your job in selling to get other people to do what you want them to do. That's what most people think sales is all about: influencing people, manipulating them, getting them to sign on the dotted line, arguing or shaming or pressuring if the prospect doesn't see it your way, getting them to do what you want them to do. Back when I started selling in the 70s, I went to a seminar, one of the big ones in an arena with thousands of people. One of the speakers was a well-known sales trainer and motivational speaker. He came out, walked up to the front of the stage, put his hand in his pocket, looked out over the thousands of people in the audience, and he said, your prospects have your money in their pockets, and it's your job to do everything short of going to jail to get the money out of their pockets and into yours. Now, that's how sales was taught back then and how it was practiced. And unfortunately, there's a lot of that going on in selling today. Instead of trying to get people to do what you want them to do, help them do what they want to do. Instead of trying to get them to change their health, offer them the opportunity to change their health if they want to. It may not seem like much of a difference in those two approaches. Actually, the difference is massive. You see, people buy what they want and not what they need. Now, here's an example of that. I drive a 2005 Dodge Ram pickup truck. It doesn't look as good as it used to or smell as good as it used to, but it starts every time I turn the key and it gets me where I want to go every time. It still runs good. So if I were to look at new trucks, it would be because I want a new truck, not because I need one. So if the salesperson tried to convince me that I need a new truck, it wouldn't result in a positive buying decision. But if the salesperson asked a lot of questions and found out what I really want in a truck that I don't have right now in the one that I own, and told me that I could have the things I want and took me for a test drive and showed me all the things I said I wanted, chances are that I might buy a new truck. So if you find out what your prospective practice member wants and effectively communicate what's possible when receiving care from you, you will receive positive buying decisions from the majority of people with whom you talk. When you have a sales conversation, your focus must be 100% on the person to whom you're selling. If you're thinking about the amount of money you can bring in if your prospect buys, your focus is in the wrong place. If you're thinking about the disagreement you had with your significant other or coworker before the sales conversation, your focus is in the wrong place. If you're thinking about what you're going to do after work or on the weekend that's going to be really fun, your focus is in the wrong place. And if you're thinking about what you're going to say next in the conversation, your focus is in the wrong place. You must keep your focus 100% on your prospects. What do they want? How do they feel? What do they want to remove from their lives? What do they want to add to their lives? What are their goals and dreams? What do they want to do in their lives that they can't do right now? If you've ever heard me speak before, you've undoubtedly heard me say, you are not the Jackass Whisperer. You will encounter people as you have sales conversations who are skeptical about chiropractic. If you're a network chiropractor, some people won't think that light touch energy work will actually be effective. Sounds kind of airy-fairy to me. Some people will say that it's crazy for you to ask for that much money for chiropractic care. And some will think it's ridiculous to come to your office on a regular basis to receive care when their backs don't hurt. You can answer objections, but it's not your job to argue with them in an attempt to get them to change their minds. Go find people who want what you have and stop trying to get people who don't want it to want it. The reason the 3 things you must believe in and the 3 philosophies you must hold are so important is this. You may be familiar with the concept of mirroring. In any conversation, people who are engaged tend to physically mirror what the other person in the conversation is doing with their posture, the way they're sitting, what they're doing with their hands, and so on. What's more important is that energy is also being mirrored. And as the salesperson, you are the one in control of the direction of the conversation. So your energy will dominate the energy flow. So if you or your team members who have sales conversations in your office go into the conversations with a lack of confidence, not believing in themselves, chiropractic, or your practice, there's an unseen energy that passes between salesperson and prospects. The prospects will lack confidence. And when they lack confidence, they won't buy. If your prospects sense that your focus is someplace besides on them, they won't buy. If the prospects feel that you're trying to get them to do something that you want them to do, it will be perceived as pressure and they won't buy. And if your focus is on money, they won't buy. A good friend of mine who's also a sales coach is fond of saying, prospects can smell commission breath 5 miles away. Once you have your mindset in the right place, have conversations with your prospective patients. Don't do presentations. You heard me say earlier that buyers are much more sophisticated than they used to be. Before they talk with you, they've read all about you on your website and social media. They've checked to see what's in it for them if they come in to talk with you. They've checked to see what other people have said about you, good or bad. So you don't need to do an old style presentation. You don't have to tell them all about what you do, how much education you have, how good you are, how much people love you, and what kind of chiropractic you practice. A sales conversation is not an educational seminar. Don't get involved in technical jargon and explanations about subluxations and other big chiropractic words. Keep any explanations so simple that a sixth grader could understand them. Another thing to remember is to go into your sales conversation with the goal of having a fun, friendly conversation, finding out what your prospect wants, explaining effectively that your prospect can have what they want, and finding out whether your prospect qualifies to be your practice member. Do all of that with no expectation of a particular outcome. Think about your sales conversation in terms of the world's best chocolate chip cookies. Imagine that you have guests coming to a party at your house and you bake up a batch of the world's best chocolate chip cookies to serve to them. Your guests arrive and you've just taken the cookies out of the oven and the whole house smells like fresh baked cookies. The cookies are warm and gooey and absolutely delicious. You put them on a plate and begin to circulate among your guests. How would you like to try one of the world's best chocolate chip cookies? No, I just had dinner before I came and I'm stuffed. You go to the next guest. How would you like to try one of the world's best chocolate chip cookies? No, I actually don't like chocolate, so I'll pass. Next guest. How would you like to try one of the world's best chocolate chip cookies? Oh, I'd love to, but I'm on a diet, so I really can't. Next guest. How would you like to try one of the world's best chocolate chip cookies? Oh, yeah, I love chocolate chip cookies. Give me 3, please. Now, some people told you no. That doesn't say anything about your worth as a human being. It doesn't say anything about how great your cookies are. It just says that some people don't want what you have to offer, at least not right now. It's the same way when you invite people to start care with you. Some people are going to say no. That doesn't mean that you're a bad person or a bad salesperson or that the care you offer isn't valuable or that people don't want it. It simply says that that particular prospect you're talking with right now doesn't want what you're offering, at least right now. So don't beat yourself up. Go to the next guest. Now, of course, if most people are saying no, you may have a problem with the scripting for your part of the conversation, and that can be fixed. There's only one way you can find out what your prospects really want and why they want it, and find out whether they qualify to be your practice member, and that is to ask lots of questions. In fact, almost your entire sales conversation is comprised of you asking questions. All of your questions need to be asked open-ended. That means that your prospects can't just answer yes or no. They must expand on their answer, and that supplies you with more information that you need, much more information, in fact. It also makes the prospects think more about the answers they're giving. An open-ended question is one that starts with who, what, when, where, why, or how. Here's an example. If you ask someone, is the sky blue? The answer will almost always be yes, because there's even a crayon called Sky Blue. Almost everyone will answer that indeed the sky is blue. If you ask the question open-ended, though, what color is the sky right now? You may get a variety of answers. Oh, it's bright blue. You can kind of see the blue through the high wispy clouds. There's some big puffy white clouds and some blue sky. It's gray and overcast. It's really black. I think it's going to storm. Now, the challenge with asking open-ended questions is that you habitually ask closed-ended questions. You've done it all your life. You have to change your habit to a new one and start to ask questions open-ended if you want to have effective sales conversations. It's a good idea to ask every question you ask of anyone in your life open-ended. Ask your significant other, your friends, your co-workers, and especially your children. You'll be amazed at what you discover and learn when you ask questions open-ended. It's fun, and especially when you're talking with your kids. A lot of people think that the most important skill in selling is talking. You've probably heard people say, oh, she has the gift of gab. She should be in sales. She could sell ice boxes to Eskimos. Well, the truth is, it's not how well you talk that's important. It's how well you listen. You need to listen carefully with your ears, your mind, and your heart to what your prospects are saying. That's one reason that having a sales script with which you're totally familiar is so important. You don't have to be thinking about what you're going to say next. You know that with certainty. So it creates space for you to really listen to what your prospects are saying and how they're saying it. You can listen to the emotion behind what's being said. And that's critical because buying decisions are made emotionally, not logically. Once you've gotten the answers to your questions and you know what your prospect wants and why they want it, and you've determined that the prospect might be an ideal practice member who's willing and able to invest their time, energy, and money to receive care from you, you must effectively answer the one burning question that your prospects have in their minds. Your prospects are in your office for a reason. There's something they want to get rid of that they don't want in their lives and health, or something that they want that they don't have currently. After you ask your questions and you know what that is, your prospects want to know what's in it for me. If I receive care here, how's it going to solve the problems I'm encountering right now? How's it going to change my life in a positive way? How is it going to help me feel and function better? How will it make me happier, healthier, more productive, more peaceful, more profitable? What's in it for me? A lot of chiropractic salespeople try to answer those questions by talking about themselves, their education, their processes and procedures, and their office. Their answer is all about we, us, our, me, my, I. There's another new habit you need to cultivate if you want to sell effectively. You need to answer your prospects' questions directly by using you statements. You can have, you can get, you can enjoy, you can do, you can be, you can learn, you can take advantage of. When you effectively answer that question, you're well on your way to a positive buying decision. Now, the problem is that you've been so exposed to marketing in emails, on social media, billboards, TV, radio, that is almost all we and I focused, that it's habitual and feels natural for you to talk with your prospects in that way. You need to change that habit. Practice making you statements. Script yourself to offer value statements as you statements. Now, the next thing you need to do in your sales conversations is ask for the sale. And first, a little vocabulary. If you've been around salespeople, sales coaches, and trainers or sales managers very much, you've heard the terms close and closing applied to the step in the sales process where you ask for the sale and get the prospect's buying decision. I want to encourage you not to use those terms because in everything except sales, the word close has a pretty negative connotation. The door is closed. You can't come in. This is a closed meeting and you weren't invited. You can't come in. This business is closed until 12:10 and you can't come in and do business. This is a closed person. Until his arms uncross and the skeptical look comes off his face, no business will be done here either. So think in terms of starting, commencement, commitment, beginning a relationship instead of closing. Close means it's over, we're done, there is no more. And when you receive a buying decision, whether it's yes or no, really that's just the beginning of the relationship. It is tremendously important that you actually ask for the sale. Too many people just stop after they tell people about their services and they don't ask. Jesus of Nazareth famously said, "Ask and you will receive." I absolutely believe that's true. And I also believe, conversely, that if you don't ask, you won't receive. So why don't salespeople ask? Why don't they ask for the sale? Why don't they ask for an appointment? Why don't they ask for a referral? Well, the answer to that question is that they don't ask because they're afraid. They're afraid of what will happen when they ask, and they're already convinced that it will be something negative. Someone a long time ago came up with this acrostic that fear is simply false evidence appearing real. Rock and roll singer, songwriter Tom Petty said it this way in one of his great songs: "Most of what I worry about never happens anyway." I'm pretty sure that line was influenced by the quote from Mark Twain: "I'm an old man and I've seen a lot of trouble and tribulation in my life, most of which never happened." There are two major fears that are most often responsible for people not asking. The first is that the prospect might say no. Now, I'm here to tell you that no is not fatal. If it was, I'd have been dead in 1970 because I heard no a lot. No doesn't mean there's anything wrong with you or your office or chiropractic or your process. It's not about you, it's about your prospect. If you learn to have a great sales conversation, you should hear yes 60% or more of the time. If you don't, you need to make changes to what you're saying. Just be prepared for some no's and don't beat yourself up or let it make you afraid to ask. If you ask for the sale, you'll get a lot of yeses and some no's too. If you don't ask, every conversation will end with no. So it just makes sense to ask. The second most common thing that makes salespeople afraid to ask is that people will think badly of them. If I ask them for an appointment, they'll think I'm bothering them. If I ask for the sale, they'll think I'm being pushy and pressuring them. If I ask for a referral, they'll think I'm taking advantage of them. The truth is that if you're having a great conversation with someone, it's highly unlikely that he or she will think badly of you. And honestly, what other people think of you is none of your business. It's their opinion, it's their feeling, and it doesn't define who you are. It really is all about them. One of the most powerful strategies you can utilize to remove fear from the sales process is to monitor and change the conversation that you're having with yourself in your head. You and everyone else in the world have a conversation that goes on, and it usually starts with what if, and it's usually negative. What if I ask for an appointment and they do think that I'm bothering them? What if I ask for the sale and they think I'm being pushy and obnoxious? And they go and tell their friends that I'm a really pushy person and they shouldn't talk to me, and nobody will talk to me and I can't make any sales. What if they say no? What if I ask for a referral and they think I'm trying to take advantage of them? Whenever you have a negative what if that goes through your mind, recognize that for what it is and change the negative what if to a positive what if. What if I ask them for an appointment and they are so thankful that I asked them and let them know what was possible? What if I ask for the sale and they say yes? What if they go tell all of their friends that I'm so awesome and that they should come see me, and I have people calling in asking for appointments? What if I ask for a referral and my practice member is so happy with me and wants to help me so much that they give me 3 or 4 referrals? What if everybody says yes? What if I make a lot of money? What if I get wealthy? You see, the way that you talk to yourself will definitely influence and affect the outcome of your life. Well, that's what I wanted to talk with you about tonight. At the beginning of the webinar, Savannah told you that if you stayed till the end, you would receive a gift that's worth $300. And here it is. You can book a free strategy session with me, talk about your practice and your sales, ask questions, get some more ideas and strategies that will help you build your practice and your revenue. And you'll find out whether coaching with RedCap is a good fit for you or whether it's not. Now, I know what you're thinking. If I take advantage of this free strategy session, I'm going to feel obligated to do something, and he's going to try to talk me into doing something I don't want to do. And he's going to be asking me for money. And if I don't want to do it, he's going to be mad at me. And so I'm just not going to do this free strategy session. And I want to make you a promise. There's no charge, there's absolutely no obligation, and there's no pressure. It's just a fun, friendly conversation. At the end of that conversation, if you want to take the things that you've learned from the session and apply them in your business, and that's all you want to do, that's perfectly okay. It won't hurt my feelings at all. And I think when you see what you can receive and the value that coaching can have for you, you may very well want to coach with me. And if you want to do that, that's okay too. That can be arranged. So if you go to bit.ly/wizard-strategy, that's my calendar. And you can go there and you can pick the day and time that works for you and schedule yourself in for a strategy session. If you have your cell phone or your iPad with you right now, if it's sitting there on the desk next to you, open it up and go to that link and arrange your strategy session right now. If you're not able to do it right now, just copy down that link and take advantage of that just as quickly as you can. There are a limited number of spaces available to coach with RedCap. So the sooner you take advantage of the strategy session, the sooner you'll find out whether you want to coach with RedCap or not. If you do, you'll be able to make arrangements and start your coaching right away. Well, Savannah has been monitoring the Q&A. And Savannah, what questions do we have tonight?
I know, Hugh, we have a couple of questions. One of the first questions is, how can I figure out how much I should ask for my services?
As I mentioned earlier in the webinar, there's no one who can pay you enough to compensate for the value you deliver. You can take them to a place of optimal health, and there's not enough money in the world to pay for that. So don't think about your pricing in terms of what your services are worth, and don't think about it in terms of what you think other people might be willing to pay for the care you provide. There are plenty of people out there who would be willing to pay a bunch to receive care from you, to have the kind of health they want, and sometimes to get rid of some of the things that are going on in their bodies that are detrimental to their health and are holding them back. Most of the chiropractors with whom I've talked are not asking enough for the services they provide. They're not asking for enough money to really compensate them and do the things they want to do in their practices and their lives. So you need to sit down and spend some time and give some thought to what kind of lifestyle you really want for yourself and your family, and how much money it's going to take to provide that. Also, analyze your office expenses. Look at how much it takes to keep your office open and running, and what you want to add in terms of equipment, personnel, and supplies to give your practice members the very best care available anywhere and allow growth and expansion in your practice. How much do you need to spend, and how much do you want to invest and save? Then take a look at the number of practice members you have currently and how much they're investing to take advantage of your services. Determine how much additional revenue you need to do the things you want to do in your practice and your life. That will give you the information you need to determine how many new practice members you need and what you need to ask them to invest to meet your goals. That's the first step in the process. Now, initially, you probably won't ask your existing practice members to increase the amount they're investing. That will happen when they finish their current care plan. The increase will come by asking new practice members to invest more. Now, you don't have to implement a huge price increase all at once. Instead, inch what you're asking up a little at a time. Maybe increase your monthly investment by $25 and your one-time investment by a couple of $100. Keep a close eye on your conversion ratio. If you're converting 75% of the people with whom you talk to care, and you convert 7 out of the next 10 people with whom you talk at the new investment level, and you don't get a whole mess of money objections and refusals to start care because of money, then implement another small raise in your pricing for the next 10. If you see your conversion ratio drop significantly at some point, reduce your ask down to the previous level at which almost everyone was saying yes. And you've found your sweet spot for the time being. One other factor you need to consider is that if you dial your marketing in to attract people at a higher socioeconomic level, you'll be able to ask and receive more money for your services. A sign that it's time to raise your prices is when you realize you're busier than you really want to be. Raise your prices and you'll have fewer people investing more money, and you'll make as much or more money than you were, and you'll create more time for yourself. So Savannah, what else you got?
Someone else asked, if someone says they want to think about it before they make a decision, should I say okay or should I say something else?
Okay, let me model this. Savannah, if you would be my prospective practice member for a minute, and you just told me that you want to go home and think about it for a while. Well, Savannah, I appreciate that. You're about to make one of the most important decisions of your life because it involves your health. It's going to determine how well your body functions, how you feel every day, and maybe even how long you live. That's a tremendously important life decision you're going to make, and it also involves money. So I understand completely why you want to make sure that you're making the right decision. Savannah, let me ask you this. What questions do you still have in your mind that we haven't answered yet?
Well, I guess I'm just also a little bit unsure about if it's going to work.
Ah, okay. Savannah, there's only one way you'll ever know for sure how it will work for you, and that's for you to start care, get on the table, and experience the results in your body, your health, and your life. It's worked for a lot of other people, and you won't know how fast or to what extent it will work for you and what changes it'll make in your life and your health until you actually experience it. I can't guarantee in what period of time your health will change or to what extent it will change. But I can guarantee this. When you start care and come to your appointments regularly and do the things the doctor recommends, your health will improve. And if you don't receive care, your health will stay the same way it is now, or in all likelihood, it'll get worse. So let me ask you this. How willing would you be to start care, get on the table, and see the difference it makes in the way you feel, the way you function, and the things you can do in your life?
I am really ready to start feeling better.
Okay, well, I just modeled one possible answer to that objection. There are a number of other ways to do it depending on how your prospect responds. Folks, thank you so much for being on the call tonight. I really appreciate you being here. I hope you found value in the things you heard on this call. And again, you're invited to go to my calendar at bit.ly/wizard-strategy and arrange a time for your free strategy session so you can get more information as it applies directly to your practice and your sales. Until then, make it fun, make it profitable, and good selling. Good night, y'all.